Oh, that's just what they say for everything now. They say up to 60 FPS. Like, bullshit. Up to 60 FPS. Sure. With frame gen and DLSS on. That's pretty much what the new Monster Hunter is. Barely runs on good computers. Why would I spend 70 bucks on that? Get out of here. Oh, is my mic on? Yeah, my mic's on. Just making sure. No, I'm looking for stuff right now. I don't have encyclopedic knowledge of this game. I played it on the Wii, and then, like, never again. I played the PS3 one for a little while, but I only got like halfway through, so I had to remember how to get everything. RPG NPCs should just let you take stuff, because in every RPG, the only people that can do anything are the ones that you play as. Like, sure, raid my fridge. I've got a badass sword in here, just take it. Okay, I'm not seeing her. Like, what the fuck am I supposed to do? This game's really annoying, making you, not giving you the Hyogis just by playing the game. Like, I don't know why they bothered to do that, especially because doing them in this game is really dumb. It's tied to Arliss Rise, instead of just being a bar that you activate. They overcomplicated it from Vesperia. That's this game in a nutshell. Okay, this chick is not here. Like, what the fuck does it want me to do? Oh, you can't do them in the future arc. No wonder. Alright, so I'm not stupid. That's really dumb. Why can't you do them in the future arc? It's like literally the same game. There's like 2 new dungeons tops. It's mostly just recycled content. No wonder I couldn't find it. Well, that's great to know. Great to know I've been wasting my time walking around doing nothing. Walking sim. Just arbitrarily can't do it in this mode. Why? Is there any justification for that? I really don't think there is. They want you to, want you to aimlessly run around. Adding a little pop-up would be like all you need to do. Prevent me from doing that. Luckily, I found out pretty quick. The new Monster Hunter runs terribly, from what I'm hearing. People are still at the top of the pre-orders. Like, why? It's not worth pre-ordering. Recommended specs barely work. I'm not buying it. Period. Jinjata. What's wrong with the balance? All I hear about is that it runs terribly, which I would argue is more important because, you know, the frame rate matters in an action game. It's like one of the most important things. Which was one of the really impressive things about this game I was currently playing, is that it ran at 60 FPS locked, like, all the time on the Wii hardware. Like, they took that shit seriously. Sad how much we've regressed since then. It doesn't seem like the balance really matters if the game barely works. Just like every other modern AAA game, it doesn't work at launch. Well, we're working hard around the clock to fix it. I'm like, well, you're charging $70 for it now. It should fucking work. It should work instantly. None of this, oh, we're working hard around the clock. That's not very helpful. The game does not work now. You can't even get it to run at 60 FPS on, like, the most commonly used graphics cards. Something's seriously wrong there. Come on now. How am I supposed to justify spending $70 on that? It doesn't even work. I have no shortage of other games to play that don't run like that. The way I look at that is, the thing that's been going on with the Ninja Gaiden 2 remaster is people just complain so much, and, like, almost all the stuff has been fixed already. Fiend Busa already fixed the spawns. He added a decapitation multiplier. It's only been out for, like, 2 weeks. I'm like, man, it's just, like, it's a single-player game. Like, it will get modded. It would be nice if the game had been better from the start, yes, but... you know, it's something that will be fixed. Yeah, they did a good job on this remaster. It's definitely one of the better remasters we've gotten in a while. I can say that this has a lot less wrong with it than the Kingdom Hearts remasters had at launch. Those games were a complete disaster. There were so many things wrong with it, because the game was never intended to run above 30 FPS, and the game logic was tied to the frame rate. I imagine they probably had an easier job with this, because the only thing that matters in this game is the battles for gameplay. The fact that you can turn off the encounters as well is nice, but there are some minor issues with 120 FPS, but nothing really game-breaking, from what I can tell. They did a patch today, but there's no patch notes, so I don't know exactly what it entails.
これは
今の光をどうした？何？
何を言っている？
いや、さっぱり。
僕の足を引っ張らないでくださいよ。さあ、先を急ごう。
There's the homeboy. I mean, recently, for channel adjacent stuff, there was Wild Hearts, which is like a legit good game, and could have been a competitor to Monster Hunter, but it ran like garbage, surprise, surprise, and then also they dropped support really quick. The game is on sale for like 15 bucks right now. If you're willing to fight with it a little bit, that game is pretty solid. Once I get through the backlog, I probably will play that game again. But, that game deserved a lot better. I don't know why they decided to take a publishing deal from EA. Nintendo obviously treats them a lot better. It's not like the game would have run poorly on Switch, of course, but probably would have gotten way more sales and more post-launch support. They basically did a bunch of palette swap monsters for like a couple months, and then they killed support, and they never once did anything for optimization, so unless you've got a good computer or a PS5, it's pretty rough. And yeah, the new thing is the new Dragon Age did poorly. The CEO was quoted as saying, if it was a service game, it would have done better. Which is the most mind-numbing thing I've heard from a person in power in the game industry. That makes zero sense. It would have done worse if it was a service game. It would have had to do really bad monetization. I can't see how that would ever work. But hey, I'm not a CEO. What do I know? I just think that's fucking stupid. So many service games shutting down. It's the same thing that happened with SNK. Remember when SNK was only doing pachinko for like 5 years? And then that stopped working and they went back to actually making real games again. Everybody they're hoping they have the next Genshin Impact, but then they don't realize it's very hard to get a game that successful. You can't just magically make a Genshin Impact successor. The only one that's really even come close is Wuthering Waves. And that's mostly because it's just Genshin Impact, but with not shit combat. And they already had experience with PGR making a game with good combat. Wuthering Waves was a disaster at launch, but people did stick with it. Yeah, these companies are getting a very hard lesson. Just because Genshin Impact still makes tens of millions of dollars a month doesn't mean that your game is going to. It's highly unlikely. And then you also have to like make smart decisions and not piss off the people that are spending money on the game, which is another thing that always happens. A lot of people don't know the only reason why PGR has non-predatory monetization is because that game was also a disaster at launch. Now, granted, when we got global, and when I started playing the game on the channel, all that stuff had been resolved, but yeah, that game was a disaster at launch, and that was the way that they decided to save the game. Was not having any 50-50 or off-rate characters at all. You know, if you hit the pity, you get the character. It's interesting that with Wuthering Waves, they just kind of went back on that. Like, oh, no, it's 50-50 pity, and then, you know, the characters that are off-rate suck, and you never want them. They definitely need to learn from MiHoYo. That's like the thing that's better about the MiHoYo games. They have that crappy monetization too, but like the off-rate characters are like, actually good. They can be just as good. Wuthering Waves is a disaster in that regard. How does this game stack up to other Tales games? Nowhere near as good as everybody says it is. But this game has a very weird consensus. It's basically... For casual players, this game is great and easy to get into. For hardcore players like me, there's a lot of things that really suck about this game. The grind for titles, the way that hit stun and stagger resistance work, the art tree, all of those things really hold it back. And really depends how far you want to take the game. The story is pretty much widely regarded as not great, so if you're looking for story, I wouldn't recommend playing this game. Story in this game is not great. It's definitely not a strong point. Battle system is good, but overly complicated and also limited at the same time. Yeah, Veilguard being a Gerservice game would have made it make trillions, I'm sure. According to the CEO. I don't know about that, man.
緒に終わらせる。かわせるか。ついてこれまい。
Yeah, the opinion of this game is going to depend on what kind of Tales fan you're talking to. Are you talking to a sweatlord like me that's done, you know, combo videos and challenge runs and mechanics overviews? Or are you talking to somebody that just, you know, they just want something to play with their friends? Or they just want to enjoy the story and move on to the next game? It's the former. This game is kind of not really well liked in the hardcore Tales community. But if it's the latter, this is one of the most popular Tales games. There's a reason why they chose this one over other ones, for sure. Blatantly obvious why they did. This one is highly regarded by normies. The writing is not good. It's also a Team Destiny game, so things are kind of convoluted. And you have to look up a guide to learn how to play the game. I think they really think they chose this one first because of how popular it is with normal people, and also relatively easy. Apparently the sales haven't been great, but that's what happens when you put it next to Final Fantasy Rebirth on PC. And also just so many AAA games coming out right now. People don't have infinite money and time. I'm hoping that this isn't a Darkstalkers Resurrection situation where they're expecting the game to sell like 12 million copies, and then if they don't, they're gonna stop doing remasters. I hope that that's not the case. Especially because this remaster is a lot better than other ones we've gotten recently. It kind of just works. The only real blemish on this remaster is the Switch version runs at 30 FPS, which is actually worse than the Wii version, which makes 0 sense. Like, I don't know how they screwed that up. It's the bloodstained Switch situation all over again. It probably sold the most on Switch because Nintendo players are more accepting of not great graphics. But it also is worse than the Wii version that came out like 16 years ago. So I really think they should have like pushed it back or announced that they were going to do some kind of performance mode patch, because that's just whack. You know, if you have a Steam Deck, which, you know, I did a stream just a couple hours ago, it runs fine on there. It's definitely a great Steam Deck game. It doesn't drop a single frame. You can get like 4 hours of battery life on a stock Steam Deck. But the Switch version, performance for this is inexcusable. How do you make it run worse than the console from like 3 generations ago? That just makes no sense. Come on now. Especially for a game like this where the frame rate matters compared to like a turn-based RPG where turn-based RPGs actually feel really shit at 30 FPS too, especially if the menus aren't 60. But it definitely does matter less than something like this. I don't understand how they screwed that up. But other than that, it's a good remaster. They haven't had to post an apology and say that they're working around the clock to fix the game. I mean, it's better than most most new game experiences you get these days. Doesn't matter what kind of game it is. Something low fidelity like this or a AAA masterpiece like Monster Hunter. Same difference. Same shit experience. This kind of just worked. Tosei did a good job on this remaster. You fan of Zestiria? No. No. That's one of the worst Tales games.
目が悪いからですよ
That and Tempest are like the worst Tales mainline Tales games.
誰か助けてくれません
Mothership
か
Tales games. Zestiria and Tempest are like the worst out of all of them. Zestiria is one of the only Tales games I have not finished. Like, I'm a die-hard fan. I've even played most of the Japanese only ones. It's the only one I have not finished. One of the only ones I haven't finished.
僕を怒らせたこと後悔す
I'm talking to somebody that's finished Destiny Remake in Japanese, Hearts and Innocence, both the original and remake versions. Every Radiant Mythology. I played this in Japanese when it came out like 15 years ago. I'm like a hardcore fan. Zestiria I could not finish. I tapped out after like 5 hours. This game, I just like, this game is just not fun. Arise has its faults, but just playing it casually, it's relatively smooth. Main problem with Arise is the balancing the game around the microtransactions, which is not something I expect from a $60 game. Like, I expect that when I play gachas, you know? Even Path of Exile is like that. DFO is like that, too. Like, yeah, it's free, but if you don't spend, like, a couple bucks, it's way worse to play. That was the problem with Arise, but I still got through Arise. Zestiria I could not finish. So much wrong with that game.
研究室といったところかな
I think what made Zestiria worse than Arise was that when they announced Zestiria, or after Xillia 2, they were quoted as saying that they were not going to put out the games annually. When this game first released, this was the era of Tales where there was a new Tales game every year. For about 5 years after this game released. And the quality was better back then. But then after Xillia 2, they took a 3-year break. And they said that they were going to stop annualizing them and make the titles better. But then they come back with that. They come back with that game. I'm like, well, what happened here? You're making better games, crunching them out every year. And then you take a break and come back with Zestiria. It doesn't really look much better. It doesn't play better. It has a lot of mechanics like the Lord system and the quick run system, and the gear as well. It makes it just feel like they hate the people that bought it. You know, like the gap between Berseria and Arise was more warranted. Whether you like that game or not, it was a big step up in terms of polish, the non-combat polish, and the graphics as well. Because one of the things about Tales is that you just can't play them for the graphics. You're either playing for the story or the combat. If you're looking for, you know, better graphics, you have to play Final Fantasy. But, like, Arise definitely competed with a lot of the more high-budget RPGs, for sure. The graphics were great. It felt like the gap was warranted because they moved to a non-proprietary engine. And they also really took the visuals very seriously. But like Zestiria in comparison, it was just worse in every way. It didn't help that it was still a PS3 game. Like, that held it back too, admittedly. A lot of people don't know this, but Zestiria and Berseria were both PS3 games originally, which is part of the reason why when they gave us Zestiria over here, it was locked at 30 FPS, which is another problem with the game. It's the Grace's F remastered Switch problem. It runs at 30 FPS, which is not ideal for action combat. But yeah. Zestiria really marks the decline of Tales, both in terms of quality and then the release frequency. The games came out like way less frequently, but they're also like not much better either. It'll be interesting to see what happens with the game after Arise, which I think we're supposed to hear about it this year, supposedly. I definitely hope they take the criticisms to heart, because it moved the series forward in a lot of important ways, meaning mainly the graphics for one, and the polish. The fact that it didn't have any missables and stuff was really cool. As much as I rag on Arise, that was like the only time I did like literally everything in a Tales game. It's pretty much that and Hearts are the only time I did like every single piece of content. The fact that there was no missables was nice, the fast travel. There was a lot of quality life stuff in that game. It really did move the series forward. It's just if you play it for story or gameplay, it kind of falls flat. It's just kind of a problem, because those are like the two things you play Tales for. Sometimes Tales games have really good stories, and then like the combat is almost always engaging, even if it's not the best. But Arise definitely fell flat in both those fields. If you're only playing it for the story takes a real bad dump at the end because of COVID. I really think Arise is kind of like Xenogears Disc 2, where you could tell they ran out of time and money. And like, if they kept the plot as it was, but there were actual cutscenes for those story beats and stuff, it still would have been the same not great story, but at least it would have gone over a little bit better. But that game, there's like barely any cutscenes at the end. But yeah, there you go. I finished Arise twice. Granted, the second time was with a mod to add animation canceling, which made the game a lot better. But I could not finish Zestiria. I just couldn't do it. And I have a very high tolerance for Tales, because this is my favorite RPG series of all time. And I just couldn't do it. I tapped out. I'm like, I just cannot play this game. So I don't want to sound like my words are they're gospel, but the fact that I could not finish that game says a lot. He also stopped outsourcing Tales as well, which I think was part of the problem. When they were outsourcing the games, they were like better quality. In terms of games they need to remaster, ones that I would like first is Xillia 2, and the Vita games, and Destiny Remake. Now, the problem with bringing those games back, outside of technical stuff, which I don't know because I don't work for the company, those games need some improvements for sure. Vita games need unlocked frame rate and arts ball. Destiny Remake, same thing. They desperately need to add Arts Ball to that game, because that game's combat is top tier, but we only have 6 art slots, which makes the game very repetitive, unless you use the cheat. So if they bring that game back, I think that needs to be the bare minimum of what they need to do, is add an Arts Ball to double the slots. Would really go a long way. Who knows if that's going to happen, though. But it needs to happen. I'm not going to be too keen on buying it if they don't do that as bare minimum. In Hearts R, it's less of a problem, but in Innocence R, it definitely is. Having only 8 slots and having the combat system be so fluid and freeform really sucks. Actively makes the game worse. That's like my baseline for what they need to do for the remaster. And then also like the quality of life stuff they did for this, like with the cutscene skips and the destination marker, would be really nice too.
ユーバート偉いんだね。
説明しづらい。
Well, it seems like balance changes for these are off the table, because if they had talked to literally any of the people that are masters at this game, which is meaning not me, I never put up anything crazy for this game compared to the other Tales games that I played on the channel over the years, but they would have fixed stuff like the accuracy and stagger resistance interactions for sure, if they were going to do that. So I think that that's personally off the table, but if they do bring those 3 games back, or most namely Innocence R and Destiny Remake, definitely need an Arts Ball. They're very weird games because the combat still holds up over a decade later, and it's better than a lot of other alternatives, even within the same series. I would much rather play Destiny Remake or Innocence R again over Arise, but it's also strangely limited because you have so few slots, and it feels like it really prevents you from playing the game the way you want to. But they definitely had a chance to do that here, and they did not, so I'm going to assume that they're not going to do that. Simple Arts Ball would definitely go a long way. That is what both those games, that's what they really suffer from. My honest take is that they should focus on stuff that is newer. Because just modern gamers aren't going to have the patience for a PS1 RPG.
特に驚くことはない。そうでしょ？
And like, pretty much all the ones that are highly requested actually are the most recent ones. Meaning the Vita games, the Destiny, and the Xillia games. Which like already have translations, so it's pretty clear they're going to focus on those first. I know that they did do more translations for this, but the fact that they have like the core languages already done means that a lot of the work is already finished. So I'm using an art usage multiplier to skip the grind. The grind in this game is like the worst. If you want to do, you know, challenge runs or New Game Plus in any capacity, the grind is so bad in this game. Luckily, with an art usage multiplier, you can skip most of it. We need more Souls-likes. We have too many. We do not need more Souls-likes. There are other ways to engage in melee combat with artificial intelligence enemies than Souls-likes. What the fuck has happened to action games, man? Shit is mad depressing. Why does everything have to be a Souls-like? You know, I like Musou games, I like games like this, I like action RPGs. I just like action games of all types. But seems like all anyone wants is a Souls-like. And it's always the same problem too, is like you just can't make a game on par with the FromSoft because they just don't have the budget. They don't have the budget and the resources or the size of the team. And it's like, and then they keep asking for them, and then what ends up happening? It's the same shit every time. This isn't as good as Elden Ring. I'm like, well, of course not. Elden Ring probably had like a couple hundred people working on it. It doesn't matter how passionate the team is, like, you just can't... It's not easy to compete with that, at all. If you make a game like this, you know, there's less competition. There's less competition, for one. And the expectations are a lot lower as a result. And now everything has to be a fucking Souls-like. It's getting exhausting. Like, where do these people come from? There's been plenty of other types of action games. There's no shortage of them. What do you think that's what this channel is based around, is all kinds of different types of action games. Like, yeah, when I started, it was hard to get people to watch anything that wasn't Musou, but, you know, like that Wendigo Blue video I put up with Power Flood has like 500 views with no advertising. I've worked really hard to branch out. I wish other people would as well. There's no shortage of great action games to play. You just have to be a little bit more accepting. Like, yeah, it's not going to be Elden Ring. It doesn't mean it's bad. I mean, the problem with making an Elden Ring Souls-like style MMO, how do you keep people playing if it's supposed to be a Souls-like, where you can win with crap gear? It's not a very good gameplay loop for something that needs to make a certain amount of money every month or it's going to shut down. Like, that's precisely why most, like, Path of Exile, Diablo, Last Epic and stuff, that's why they do seasonal content. That's precisely why they do it. Because they know that they can't scale it up forever. Doing a reset every 3 months prevents them from having to do that. That's precisely why. Like, unless you're gonna do, like, a seasonal roguelike or seasonal Souls-like, I just don't see how that can even work. You can tell with, like, Diablo and Path of Exile, they want to avoid what's happened to games like DFO, where, you know, the power creep has just gone up so much that they legit, like, remove content from the game. They remove content from the game and, you know, they do excessive buffs and stuff. Like, that's what doing seasonal design allows you to avoid. You don't have to power creep the game up forever. But, like, for a Souls-like, I just don't see how that would even work. It kind of wouldn't work. Kind of would not work. What are they gonna do? Make it so you can just, you know, one-shot the boss? Or you have, like, 500% attack speed and damage up and everything? I mean, that sounds fun to a degree, but you can also just play Stranger of Paradise for that and not have to pay microtransactions. So, I think a game like that would be pretty pointless in my opinion. You already have that. The game's on sale for like $15 right now. There you go. It already exists. I don't feel like doing another dungeon right now. It's a pretty long one. Let's play something else. I'll continue that on the next kitty sitting stream. The next PSO needs to be an actual PSO game. We're actually fucking playing the game. Actually playing the game is needed, instead of it being VR chat with combat. PSO 2 was already getting to that point, but then New Genesis just went full in that direction. Like, the people that still play it, they don't even fight anything. They just buy the avatars and sit around. And I mean, hey, people can do what they want with their time and money. I'm not going to tell people what to do in the game, but I feel like if that's the only thing people want to do in your open world MMO, and the content doesn't come quick enough, then you've kind of failed. The difference with base PSO2 is that, yeah, there were a lot of people that did that, but most of them did actually play the game. New Genesis is just VR chat that happens to have average at best action combat. I don't know if that's the kind of goal you want to have for do they really not have a frame rate? Oh wait, I put on VSync. Hold on. There we go. I don't know if that's something you should aspire your MMO to become, is just VR chat. But that's the state of the PSO franchise right now. It's just VR chat.
Oh, finally! Your very spirits, you'll get used to. In the meantime, you go to the source and use the crystal shard.
And that's the other thing, is like VR chat stuff is mostly free. You have to buy loot boxes to anything in New Genesis for the VR chat stuff. I saw somebody say that, yeah, it's just VR chat that happens to have MMO stuff.
I see you've also discovered a new weapon. You should have... Be sure to try this lift will take you. I wish you luck. So forward.
Also, if they make another PSO, they need to stop doing drip feed content. They need to have a more consistent update schedule. That's what makes the fact that they get a world record attempt speed run through PSO2's lifespan was like the dumbest thing they could have done, because it gave people false impression that the game was going to be updated regularly, like the most popular gacha games right now. You know, PGR, Wuthering, all the MiHoYo stuff. You know, like every month, every like 30, 40 days, there's an update. But then a new Genesis came out that's like, hey, you guys got to see what actually playing that game when it was new was like. The drip feed content, having nothing to do. Those are things you just kind of accepted if you continue to play PSO2. Either you liked it enough to put up with it, or you stopped playing. Those were the two options. It definitely did turn off a lot of people. Drip feed in base PSO2 was pretty rough. But, you know, you kind of teach people, you condition people to expect that there's going to be regular updates when you speed run through 10 years of content like that. And then New Genesis came out, it was the same thing all over again.
Hey, it's rare these days. You look like one of... Yes, take these moonstones and...
Well, PSO is barely a game anymore. It's not even a game anymore. It's VR chat. It's VR chat where instead of downloading models, you have to pay real money and gamble in loot boxes to play the VR chat portion. The actual combat grinding part of the game has had like barely any updates, and they don't listen to people. They don't listen to people and fix things. They also updated the same glacially slow pace that they did for the original game. So I think anything is an improvement from that, personally. As somebody who played the JP version for 10 years. I'm playing a new game called Sworn. I'm checking it out, seeing if it's worthy of playing farther. Right now, I'd say no. I'm giving it a shot. The PSO2 New Genesis hasn't been a game for a long time. It's VR chat. I can see the complaints with this game. Obviously, I'm not good at this game. I'm not going to blame the game for dying just there right now, but apparently people have been saying the melee combat in this game is very unfair. Like, yeah, I can kind of see it. I can definitely kind of see this game seems designed with ranged in mind, which is not my thing, as you guys know.
Hail, soulful.
I like my melee combat. There's lots of meta progression. Well, if the next outing is actually a game, that would be a pretty big improvement. Original PSO2 is definitely a better balance of, you know, the VR chat, stand around and talk and shitpost, and, like, actually having a game to play. That's definitely not what... That's definitely not what New Genesis is. People wonder why they only put costumes and stuff. I'm like, first off, that's how the updates were for base PSO2 on the Japanese version. That's exactly how they were. They updated every 2 weeks, but most of the time it was just costumes. Because, you know, they didn't really sell power in the game, per se. I mean, the costumes were power in a way because you could sell them and use them to upgrade your character, but the best stuff you couldn't buy. Well, they were making money off the cosmetics, but I mean, for me, personally, the cosmetic part of the game I never really interacted with much, because I was a male character. And if you played that game throughout its lifespan, they did, like, no male costumes at all, because they know their audience. Their audience is guys who want to play as a girl character. They did, like, no male cosmetics. That was part of my success in PSO2. My career in that game was that I chose a male character. So I spent very little money on cosmetics. You guys have seen my character before. I made a Kamen Rider cosplay And I spent quite a bit on that, and then I never spent any money on cosmetics again. Yeah, that's pretty much what base PSO2 was. Not the accelerated schedule, but playing the game when it was new. Most of the time it was just costumes. But the balance was definitely better in the base game. Undeniably, it was much better. There were still things to do, even if it was drip-feeding content, and there definitely were really shitty periods of the game, eras of the game as well, but I definitely don't think it can be compared to New Genesis, where it kind of stopped being a game. Yeah, they know their audience. And also, like, it makes them money because as a male character, and I just made a Kamen Rider guy, and I bought very little cosmetics. I did use the cash shop, but I wasn't specifically looking for anything for the most part. I was mostly just flipping it for in-game money. Like, the cosmetics make them money because even people who aren't into the whole VR chat aspect of base PSO2 and New Genesis, that was the best way to make money, by far. Was you'd buy the loot boxes and then sell whatever you got out of them. So that's why they make so many cosmetics. It directly makes them money. It's actually a pretty smart system when you think about it. You are buying power, but indirectly. It's kind of how it is with... It's actually better than DFO, because at DFO you do get, like, the rare avatars, you know, and you get the titles and stuff, which are, like, direct power. But in PSO2 and New Genesis, you buy the clothes and you just sell them, and then you fund your character's combat. Alright, let's see what I feel like doing next.
My sons, can you hear me?
Father, is that you? Where are you? What are we waiting for? Let's go!
Yeah, I saw you post that rant, and I didn't reply because I was like half asleep, but I definitely agree with you. Really shows where their priorities lie. They're not even trying to make it an actual video game anymore. It really has just become VR chat with microtransactions. Which, I mean, depending on what you want, may not be a bad thing.
I'm totally tagging in, bro! And we're in this together.
If they do make another PSO, they're really going to have to redo how they approach updating the game. Drip feed content in successful service games is no longer a thing.
Sometimes you gotta switch up your tactics.
It was back then, now it's not. Now pretty much all the successful service games are updating, like, minimum every 30-40 days. And I really don't think that doing a bunch of costumes every 2 weeks is going to keep people playing. And it's been like that for a while, but especially post-Genshin, pretty much all the ones that actually make money are doing that now. There's a major update every month. And, like, actual stuff that keeps you playing, not a couple costumes, or, hey, we recolored this monster and put it somewhere in the open world, and go kill it and get something that makes you get 5% more damage. like, that shit is just not gonna fly anymore. They're really gonna have to seriously reconsider how they do updates. That's like the first thing that needs to change for the game to be successful. To put this into perspective, you know, Aethergazer, the game I'm partnered with, they did what's called a dead patch. This one that's currently running right now, where there's no new character. It's kind of just some side events and, like, to save up for the next character. It's plummeted the revenue, and the interest in the game has plummeted. Now, that used to be standard. It used to be standard, you know, to not have something major going on every 30-40 days, but now it's the standard. And if you don't adapt, then people aren't going to stick around. Now, obviously, it's different from, like, other service games like Concord and stuff, where, you know, you can tell that the game is going to die because there's no update. But still, it's very important to have major stuff going on regularly for people to stick around. Because there's no shortage of those games to play now. That's the thing. There's so many of them now. It's more than anybody could ever play. Even if they didn't spend any money on the games. Like, just the time investment is so big. I mean, I would, if the next PSO was actually worth playing, and was actually a video game again with good combat, it wouldn't really bother me that much, because I have other service games to play. Like, PGR is my main game, obviously, right now. I wouldn't be too bothered by not having to be on the game that much for a while, but the average person is definitely not going to be happy with that. They're going to be furious if the game doesn't update for, like, even a month. So, I hope that if they are planning a new PSO that they're actually thinking about shit like that, because it does matter.
Do not let your guard down. To become a better ninja,
I offer you a portal of power.
I wonder how much these cost.
Like, PGR does that too.
Grow stronger.
PGR also does dead patches. But dead patches in PGR basically just mean we're trying to give you a break between the spending. Because if you're a free player, you can't get every character if they don't do dead patches, but they managed to keep it relatively interesting. And it's also only like a couple weeks. It's like 4 to 5 weeks per patch. So, it's not that bad. But they definitely do take a real big hit in revenue when they do that. I think when they added Bianca Stigmata to that game, they got like record-breaking sales. But then I think the next patch was an A rank, and the revenue went like way down.
Crazy thing.
The updates are consistent. They're always adding new shit to do. It doesn't really affect it.
Let's add fire. Just like.
A blessing upon you.
Father would be pleased.
Another challenge.
Lights out, pal. Yeah! Last one standing.
Well done, my sons.
Who am I to question Donnie?
I offer you a portal of vice.
Just defending ourselves.
Got a little something for you guys.
Thanks, April. You guys do a number on my katanas.
May you grow ever stronger.
What does the chairman do with all this anyways? See ya! Let's see what the chairman has in store.
New merchandise and fresh fare.
Quick look, and we go.
Everybody's playing Monster Hunter right now. I already kind of wasn't really interested in more Monster Hunter because Rise was like about the limit of how slow I'll play an action game. But then I hear that it runs so bad, and I'm like, oh, that kind of makes me just lose all interest.
A little zing on top.
I'd be willing to give it a chance, but it's gonna run like that. I just do not care.
We
Got
have
plenty of
received
games to play that don't
important
run like
challenge.
that. I'm not paying $70 to fight with the PC port. I've done that too much already. Capcom desperately needs a new engine. The RE engine was like industry standard when they first released it. You know, with DMC5 and the Resident Evil games. But then they started trying to make open world games in it, and it runs like garbage. It's barely usable. Dragon's Dogma 2 is the same problem. It's obviously too late for them to port it to a new engine, but that just seems like a disaster waiting to happen. PC gamers are tired, man. This has been happening way too often lately. That's why I try to do my research before I buy any PC games. Even if it's something I know I'll like.
Was getting hungry.
You know, FF16, I wasn't sure if I was gonna like the game. I did end up liking the game, but
Keep pushing forward.
what
no
influenced
matter
me
which
to
way
buy
you
it was the
run.
fact that they had a demo. And the demo allowed me to test the game.
So much.
Demo allowed me to test the game and make sure that he was
No
even going to
idea.
run in the first place.
I offer you a greater portal of power.
Like, yeah, I would not have spent $60 on that game if there was not a demo. That's probably why they're so scared to do demos now. Yeah, if I was mega into Monster Hunter, which I'm definitely not, I played that demo, I'm like, okay, well, I'm definitely not pre-ordering that game.
What does the chairman do?
Time and money is
Any-
better spent elsewhere.
Just like. Earn your respect. Get back up. Bring on the light.
I offer you a portal of storm.
Back to the lab with
A blessing upon you.
Well, hopefully they're ready for the negative reviews, because they're definitely deserved. It doesn't even look much better than World. That's what's kind of weird to me. It doesn't look much better than Rise or World, but it runs so much worse. How does that work?
Feels like a dreamer upgrade.
We have received a clock.
If it doesn't look much better, why does it run so much worse?
Some interest in controlling the docks. Like that. At least we won't have to do that again.
You remain victorious.
That's not an excuse. That is definitely not an excuse.
Nice. Let's put this scrap to good.
What's with all these action games not prioritizing performance
Quick look. And
when
we
it's
go.
like the thing that matters the most? I say this as somebody that's played games with 30 FPS menus and how awful they feel. Like, even turn-based RPGs are pretty bad at 30 FPS. Navigating the menus and stuff really sucks. But for an action game, there's no excuse. Should be prioritized.
It's not forever.
So much competition now.
Please do come again.
How much these cost?
You need more training. Nothing like some good scrap.
The Foot have issued a gauntlet challenge.
Looks like stormy seas. Let's go investigate. We go again, Karai.
Mine. Like that.
Well, we asked for it.
You have yet to see my strength.
A good fight, but it's done now. Here's the spot.
It's time to go back to God Eater 3. God Eater 3 runs better.
All right, back for more of my. You guys are.
And you can skip the cutscenes.
Pineapple cilantro pizza. And we're all gluttons for a crime-free New York.
In the case of your car,
Whatever, word nerd.
Your funeral.
No, your funeral.
It's not forever, but it'll help.
nothing personal.
This won't last forever. Nice. Let's put this scrap to good use. Whoops.
Come one, come all.
We have received a gauntlet challenge.
I'll take some flame. Bring on the light.
I'm too easy to get.
Hey, this is Gigi's garage.
I'm the, safety inspector.
Liar.
Not sure how you got caught up in someone's losing money. Wear and tear. Downhill from here, right?
You'll never get all your car parts back.
Never underestimate Thunderdome.
No, I mean, we don't know where they are.
No! It's all right, Casey.
Victory!
Here's the spot. Feeling a lot more athletic. Like that. I wonder how much these cost. What does the chairman do with all this anyways? This has got to be a record breaker, right? Gotta keep him from throwing that pig. Just right. Time for some shopping.
New merchandise. Fresh wares.
The Foot have issued a gauntlet challenge.
Feels like a dreamer upgrade.
Best wishes on your trial.
Frost up! Frost up! We are the Amorphian Amphibian Anarchists, and we're here.
I thought you were the buzz to...
That was 3 band names ago. Wow! You plus punk frogs are nothing if
Don't forget...
I don't think they know the meaning of.
But they're gonna know the meaning of pain unless...
This game, self-aware now. This game tries to have a Hades story, but there's no conclusion. I guess, next DLC, maybe the story will be worth reading.
Clearly powerful.
It's nice reading for the comic relief, but the actual story itself has zero payoffs.
See ya. Like that. Get back. Feels like a dreamer upgrade. Bigger the better. Thanks, April. One man's trash. Fancy house. That might to become a better ninja. How much more takedown? Like that. One less Mouser. What I do next will shock you.
That'll help.
The Foot have issued a gauntlet challenge.
I'm ready for the rematch, but you're down 3 of your buddies. Wear and tear. Well done. Bring on the light. Let's see what the chairman has in store.
Welcome, young one.
Just a short stop.
So gotta do another run. And do another run next time and get the final new artifact. Didn't give me any heals whatsoever. We're gonna do the regular fight then, instead of the
Please do come
gauntlet.
again.
Not like it matters.
We'll never underestimate you.
Then you...
A little rusty.
Just like
Played it a few months.
Double!
That old foe goes down hard.
Yeah, for the 50th time. And there's no payback, no payoff in the story. That was a pretty slow run, actually.
All's well.
Well, Junkyard skips an entire section of the game, but I think it actually does make you a little bit weaker, so you have to decide if it's worth it. It's nice to have some extra variety, for sure. I definitely like that part. Anyway, that's going to do it for now, folks. We've already done 2 streams in the past 24 hours. I would like to finish Grace's... Grace's future arc at some point today, so that's probably going to take minimum 2 streams. But yeah, I'm going to go ahead and go. There's plenty of people to watch playing Monster Hunter at 12 FPS, if that's your thing. Sworn? I was kind of enjoying the game, but it feels like melee combat is really weak, so I don't know how much more I'll play that. I might actually refund it. I'll give it a little bit more of a chance, but so far it does not pass the test. And hopefully they'll fix it. Let me see how much is left on Grace's future arc. Yeah, there's like 3 more dungeons. I think 2 more streams is probably about what it'll take. The art usage multiplier is really helping. Skip the grind. So yeah, I probably have to play that more at home than on kitty sitting streams, but that's probably the plan, because I'm trying to not start too many games at once. I've actually been doing pretty good at finishing everything I've bought. I've been not overbuying games recently. The only thing I haven't finished that I bought was the Final Fantasy Rebirth, but that just runs like garbage. I haven't really been motivated to play it, and then also I bought it for myself, not for content. I'm not going to be doing any guides or anything for it, so if I like that and I get it to run well, maybe that'll be the next game, but I'm kind of leaning towards no. I didn't really like the combat that much. I mean, I need to give it more of a chance. But fighting with all the technical stuff has made me like not want to play that at all. So yeah, got to work on Turtles, Graces, and then hopefully the FF16 mod comes out soon. Wendigo Blue's probably not getting a major update for a while, but that's a pretty good kitty sitting stream game too. I'll see you guys